Hi, good afternoon. Yes, I'm Nigel Turvey. I'm the DSO and Future Networks Manager here at WPD. So I'm going to talk a little bit really about that whole area of DSO transition. This is really, I think, was mentioned earlier in terms of the areas we cover as a DNO and the importance of keeping the lights on, maintenance, and connecting customers to the network. Those continue to be key activities that we need to do going forwards. But in moving towards DSO, there are other things we need to do as well. That's promoting sort of innovation in flexibility and non-network solutions, facilitating neutral markets, and by this what I mean is, rather than just building more assets on the network, is where can we use flexibility to actually enhance, to actually replace building those assets. We wish to be able to use that sort of smartness in the network to improve the resilience and security, and overall we're looking to drive competition into this provision of capacity on networks so that we drive the cost down to the end customer. In part of doing this, we've actually published our DSO strategy. It outlines sort of 4 key areas shown on the slide, and we also highlight some very key enablers to actually make this happen. This includes things like monitoring what's going on the network, the control and automation of equipment so we can reconfigure the network, communications, data systems. We need lots of data to actually run this process. So in doing that, we actually consulted on that approach, got feedback from stakeholders in terms of what was needed, and we've incorporated that into the plan. We've also, I think we're still the only DSO which has actually published a sort of costed plan to give a high-level view of what this will cost to actually implement over time. Following on from that, we actually produced a forward plan covering sort of 8 main areas. We actually looked at the things we have done and the things we actually could do to actually improve in those areas. Now, I'm not going to sort of flog through this. What I actually do is highlight 4 areas and talk about those a bit further. So in terms of looking at things like signposting, flexibility, future scenarios, electric vehicles, we'll also add a bit on about heat at the end as well. So in terms of scenarios, what we've actually been doing over the last couple of years is producing scenarios of the growth in demand, generation and storage on the network. The purpose of doing these is to get a sort of envelope of what may happen in the future so we can understand what capacity we might need to build, and equally it gives us an opportunity to look at what flexibility would be needed to reduce that investment that's actually needed in the network. We've actually done this on a very highly disaggregated basis. The needs for flexibility down at the distribution level are on a very close geographic basis, so therefore we need to do those forecasts on that highly disaggregated basis. Mentioned flexibility a couple of times, and what do we actually mean by flexibility? There's a few sort of examples here just to try and highlight what we actually mean by flexibility from customers. First, their generation, clearly with a degree of controllability, turning that up or turning it down, or potentially constraining the output of certain generators, some renewables at certain times, gives a degree of flexibility and releases capacity on the network for other purposes. Demand that's out there can obviously be increased or time shifted, and it could be reduced at certain times to actually give flexibility on that aspect of it, releasing capacity for other purposes. And then something we've seen coming along more recently has been storage. This is both large-scale storage, and we're increasingly seeing small-scale storage being installed in people's homes, generally alongside things like rooftop photovoltaics. So we're actually seeing storage across the network at all voltage levels. In terms of what we've done over about the last 18 months, we've been trialling and beginning to roll out the use of flexibility. So last year we actually looked at 126 of our substations with potential needs for increasing the headroom on them to produce more capacity. We sought contracts to produce 1.3 million kilowatt hours of energy in terms of flexibility on that network, and that resulted in sort of 18 zones where we actually tendered out for flexibility. And what we've done is committed to test all our load-related investment going forwards to see whether there's a more economical way of delivering the capacity needed by using flexibility rather than building more assets on the network. Looking forward into this year, we actually have recently published the requirements that we have for this year, looking at another 79 primary substations, requiring quite a lot of energy and capacity. But the benefits of doing that is it could potentially defer up to £40 million of load-related investment, and that's stuff that would fall into customers' bills otherwise. We're actually marketing this through a product we call Flexible Power, so we're trying to promote that as a product so that people understand what it's about. And down the bottom of the slide there, we've actually just put in the sort of timetable we're running this year in terms of looking for that flexibility in those zone areas. The other aspect that we can actually use flexibility for is when customers are connecting particularly large loads or generators, quite often they're asked to contribute to reinforce the network. Sometimes this can be a large amount of money and can be a real barrier to them actually connecting to the network. What we're actually looking to do is whether we can develop processes where we can actually use flexibility from other customers to reduce the cost of that, to actually both allow people to connect more quickly and connect at lower cost. We're running that really as a pilot at the present time because there's quite a lot of processes to develop, and so we're getting the contractual framework right to make it work. So we're running that as a pilot up in the Lincoln area. Hopefully, with success in that pilot, we can actually roll that out across the network. Mention the word signposting. What we do recognise is that people aren't just able to provide flexibility at the drop of a hat. They actually need to plan for it. They might need to install extra control equipment. They need to consider other contracts they have with other people about the use of their energy, or when they're actually giving services to other people. So they need to be able to look forward and see what the opportunities are and assess that against their other obligations. So what we're doing with signposting is we're looking at over sort of a 5-year window, and against those scenarios we produced, I mentioned earlier, we sort of say, well, under these different scenarios, what level of flexibility are we potentially looking for? And as we get closer to the time of needing it, we can firm up those requirements and then actually issue tenders out to actually look for that flexibility to be provided. That's all published on our website and gives a lot of detail about the geographic locations we're looking at, the amount of megawatts that are needed, and the actual amount of energy under those curves that are needed at different times to actually assist us with capacity on the network. Other areas, I said I'd mention a couple of big areas that we actually need to think about at the present time. One of these is electric vehicles, and it really is about the readiness of the network for electric vehicles. I've heard discussions, and there's certainly discussions on our table about the speed or otherwise at which electric vehicles will be deployed. I know there's a wide range of views as to how quickly that would happen. Certainly the numbers we put on the slide there, we put the sort of now, which is sort of in the 30,000 type of vehicles, and also one of our higher scenarios, giving best part sort of 3 million vehicles being deployed by 2030. We certainly don't want to be a barrier to this happening, and hence we're actually undertaking innovation projects to try and understand the behaviour that people have when they have an electric vehicle. When do they charge? Where do they charge? That makes a big difference to the sort of network we actually need for the future and what flexibility we might need to support that. The other thing about electric vehicles is they are essentially just a battery on wheels, and so therefore they can both cause issues on the network but give benefits to the network. So they are a major source of potential flexibility for us in the future. So therefore developing these processes under innovation projects is very important. One of the things we do recognise is that it's not just us. We've got to engage with the car companies to understand what they're producing, what their volumes they think they might sell, but also local authorities. The charging networks that are needed for this are key to going forwards in the future. and there's a need to interface with them. We've already started that engagement, but clearly from the results we've had so far, we need to do more in that area going forwards. One of the areas we will ask you in the questions is a little bit about your behaviour in terms of when do you think you're looking at electric vehicles. We'll come to that in the questions a bit later. The other big area, which is perhaps even, probably covered quite a lot of that in terms of the area. Covered most of that. The other area where we've looked at is the electrification of heat. This area is probably the most uncertain we have going forwards at the present time. Government has yet to come out with a policy on decarbonisation of heat, but clearly in terms of decarbonising the whole UK economy, that's going to be needed going forwards. We're not sure how much of it will actually transfer to electrification or other means of decarbonising it, but we're certainly sure that some of it will be within electricity and possibly quite a lot of it. The likelihood is that we'll focus on heat pumps. Certainly in the new build area will be the likely starting point of that, because you do need quite a high level of energy efficiency in the home to have heat pumps. But clearly, there's a wide range of forecasts as to what we might need here. And again, developing networks which can accommodate that and the use of flexibility to help support that process is going to be important going forwards. And again, customer behaviour, the speed with which we might see electrification happen on heat is going to be very important going forwards.